Number 9, Logan Kaka. Seth Powell, Matt Robinson.
Welcome, sports fans. Welcome, rugby fans. Welcome, Army rugby fans. My name is Mike Eisenhart, and I'll be joining you today for this great matchup between Army men's rugby and the Guelph Gryphons from Ontario, Canada. With me in the booth, once again, back in the action, is Colin McGee. Colin, welcome.
Thanks, Mike. Super excited to be back up here today.
So we are just handling some lineup introductions here on Senior Day at Anderson Rugby Complex and Warrior Field. And then we will bring the lineups to you as well on the screen. Today is the Cannon Cup, the second part of the series, which is a two-part series that started in the fall of this year, or last year, 2025. Was taken by Army, and now it's kind of the second part of the series. Army looking to close it out and gain the inaugural Cannon Cup. The Gryphons from Guelph trying to stop that. Lots of storylines for you today. The first is probably the fact that Guelph is a very strong team that took their nationals after losing to Army in the fall. So that's one storyline we're going to watch. The lineups are different. In fairness on both sides, the lineups are different from what we saw in the fall. But from what I understand, I was not there, and Colin, you can talk about this. It was a great game that Army kind of came back and won at the end.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Mike. And the task is no easier, as you were alluding to. Back-to-back national champions visiting Warrior Field with Cal Berkeley last weekend and the Gryphons from Guelph today. But as you also said, this is an aggregate scoring matchup where in the fall West Point was victorious 38-28 in quite a battle and entertaining game of rugby. As you can imagine from the West Point side, very physical, very attritional early, getting our set piece right, being dominant in the areas that we are dominant in. Then Guelph kind of got busy in the back line. Some very dynamic backs for that team that went up 2 tries for us. West Point was able to come back in the closing minutes to get a 10-point victory, but not an easy victory. So excited to see what today brings in a much-needed match for West Point to rebound from last week.
And it's a pre-playoff match, right? I mean, effectively, this is the final game of the spring season, and then into the playoff structure we go, which, although I haven't seen any breakdown, maybe you've seen it, but I would assume that based on last week's results, West Point will be on the road.
Yeah, still yet to be determined. So it will be April 11th. So a couple weeks from now. I still think the team is hopeful to host as the 4th seed in the East, in USA Rugby East, which is what we did last year, but still yet to be determined.
Okay, so that's something that we can certainly watch. And although today won't have a bearing on that, it does certainly give you some momentum going into those 2 weeks of preparation. So we're going to go ahead and put the lineups on the screen and bring you those and announce the lineups from both sides. Give us a second and we'll pull those up. First, we'll go ahead and put Guelph's lineup on the screen. And what we have here is we have Shaw at 1, Yeomans at 2, Trollope at 3, Hatfield at 4, Foley at 5, Potter at 6, Zamey at 7, Wilson at 8, Keiko at 9, Davies at 10, Musa Belli at 11, Tremin at 12, Bauman at 13, Hazel at 14, and in the back, Henry. Your finishers for Guelph are Barnett Ritchie, Lucic, Powell, Robinson, Alpi, Breen, and Gordon. And now, for your West Point Army Black Knights. We've got Mikey Smith, the freshman, wearing the 1 jersey today. Tariq Adams, the 2. Phil Roll, another freshman in the front, at 3. Then you've got Walsh and Lasky in the seconds. Engels moves out to the flank. Dylan Liskey, who will serve as the captain, will play the 7, the open side flanker, and Badarini will move to 8. It's Kubler, did we say it right? Say it again one more time. We know we got
Kubler.
Kubler at 9. Sorry, Porter, we're still working on your name. The freshman at 9, and Sanchez at 10. Leslie will be on one wing, McAlexander on the other, with Trout and Loudenbach in the centers. Corbett will be in the back today, and our finishers are Lentfer, Carter, Savage, Dorfler, Johnson, Thompson, Gamboa, and Reed. And so, now that the lineups are up and both teams are making their way toward the center, we've got Guelph at the center. We're going to go ahead and get ready for the national anthems. So we'll set the mics down once that happens, but first, officially, the Army run out. And it looks like they're getting ready to do that. There are the songs and the pipes, and out comes your Army Black Knights. And so we are ready, about a minute away, says the official clock on the field, for another great matchup here at Warrior Field Anderson Rugby Complex. It's a crisp day, not quite as chilly as last week, thankfully. It was cold. The wind is blowing. Right now it's coming off the river toward us, but that's always a question mark, can always be a factor. And it looks like we've got Tyler Chirichella at the center today. Tyler, a Jersey guy, and a referee who's done games here and in a whole lot of places, so we expect a nice fair match from that perspective as well. We're going to set down the mics and get ready for the national anthem.
Please stand for the playing of the Canadian national anthem. Please remain standing for the playing of the United States national anthem.
And we are back. So welcome back, and let us get ready to roll. It looks like Army will be on the left side of your screen, and Guelph will be on the right. And obviously Army in the black jerseys and Guelph in the white jerseys with red numbers. For those of us in the booth with old eyes, that's a big hat tip to Guelph for the highly contrasting numbers. That should be helpful today as we try to call the game and get the names right. In advance, for anybody at home in Ontario watching or in the provinces watching, it's a pleasure to be with you and bring you this game. We ask in advance for your forgiveness on any name pronunciation issues. I'm going to do my very best as we go, but can't say that we're going to get them right all the time. Looks like Tyler is in the center, and it appears that Army will receive the kickoff. We'll go ahead and get ready to bring you the scoreboard and get that rolling very shortly. All right, Colin, what are you looking for right off the opening? What are you hoping to see, and what would be good signals for the men in black?
I was fortunate enough to be at the jersey presentation last night, and Coach talked about the process. Coach Sherman talked about the process. We're not looking at the scoreboard. We're thinking about our individual jobs and how we're contributing to success. So I'll be interested to see how West Point weathers this first 20 minutes to get into their game plan and play Army rugby.
Ball is up and it's fielded. Goes 10. Army immediately sets the ruck and now looks to pick and go at the base and get themselves into a shape and a position they like. Looks like some depth, so possibly the box kick. Instead comes out the back, and it's going to be off the foot and into the space. Clears the 40. It's a little bit mishandled. Looked to travel sideways. Churchill says that's fine, and we're going to continue to play. Thought about maybe putting it on his foot, but then took it into contact, and now the ball is moving just beyond the midline. This is the big man, the captain, running for Guelph, the number 3, Trollope. Now the ball hacked a bit, mishandled, gone forward, and the arm is out for the knock-on. Army with the advantage here, the knock-on advantage. Kubler sends it over, sees space, and that's a nicely weighted kick. Looks like Leslie on the chase. And now the ball is back in. Inside the 22 for the first time in attacking territory is Army, and they try to play quick here. Tackle is made. Referee says ball's available, and now it's out to the left side. That could be Adams with the ball. Did not quite see. And now looking to gain some meters. The arm is up for the penalty. Referee says you are offside. And so now some decisions for Army West Point. Looks like it's going to go into the corner and set up the line out. It does. And we would likely, based on territory, expect to see the quick line out into the maul. Certainly something that's been a feature of the team this year. But now referee slows things down to set the channel. So one change for sure. That's not Bardak, the captain, throwing. He's not in. An injury has kept him off today. The maul was set, and it breaks off and continues, maybe 2 meters out. Now the ball comes out. Still driving on. The lash and drive gets him within 2 or 3. Still looking. That could be today's captain, Liskey. Into space and over for the first try. The arm is up.
Mike, I'd love to take us back a couple phases because I thought it was an exceptionally mature move by Porter Kubler. He kicked through when we had the knock-on advantage, and I was like, man, we're kicking away the knock-on advantage right there. But you could see as we went through the phases, we got to the corner, they committed a penalty, attritional rugby with our forwards to score that try.
Kick is up, and the flags are up, and so Army strikes first, and the extras are made, which brings it to 7. I agree with you. That's pretty heads-up play there, trying to play quick, sees the space. It's a bit of a gamble early on, because if that's cleanly fielded, that could come back and be trouble because you kicked away the advantage. But able to make something out of it.
And it avoided a battle that we're going to see today between Trollope, who you mentioned earlier, and plebe Mikey Smith. So a very veteran prop for Guelph versus a plebe prop for West Point will be interesting to watch as we go through today.
This is Kubler, who takes the ball over the 22, and now Army looks to drive it back on. and get back to work with a similar pattern. Now, once again, shows potential box kick, brings it out the back, and the ball is kicked with some depth. It's fielded, this time cleanly by the 10, and now brought across. Back into the space goes the 15, so did not decide to switch the field there, brought it back into that side. And now the pass comes out. Good quick line speed, but the tackle was not able to be done by McAlexander, and Guelph is able to move on. Referee says that was a penalty. He came over, so even though Army looks to have won the ball, it's going to be the 15 with the ball in hand. That's Josh Henry. Kick is up, and just about takes out one of our cameras, but not able. So Mr. Henry puts it exactly where he wants it, into touch, and now we'll see Guelph's first lineout. So one of the features in this lineout is Walsh. He had a good game last game, getting up and creating problems for Cal. Got a couple of steals, so we'll see if they decide to test him. He's wearing the 4 jersey today. They do not. They go to the front, and the referee says that's not straight. It was contested. Army got up, and so the ball has to go straight down the channel. It was not, and so looks like the captain, Liskey, will decide to scrum. And so we'll see that battle you were talking about.
With the changes in the lineup from West Point this week, you can also see it developing in our exit strategy. You know, typically Isaac and Bo will do the box kick. Now we're going to Corbett with that big right foot to change the side of the field, but just a bit of a different strategy than we typically see from West Point early on.
This was an area that shined last week. You know, in a tough game, this was an area that Army looked pretty strong, but obviously some personnel changes can change things. So we'll see what it looks like here in the scrum. Wanted to find ground, but held itself up. Guelph pushes, Army's able to withstand it, and now the ball comes out. That looked to be Trout with the carry. And now it's Lasky. Once again, they set up, and this time Walsh decides to break off. A little bit of an early jump, but he got back, and now the box kick is over. It does find some green space, and it's mishandled. Referee says that went straight down. We're going to play on. So no knock on, no advantage there, and now Guelph takes the ball out. That's their prop Shaw with the carry, and then back to their other big man, Trollope. He is a large unit, and he is going to be a feature in this game based on what we could do research-wise. Now the ball comes up. Probably not the kick the 13 was looking for there, Bauman, but it is fielded. And now some space on the outside and some speed. Little isolated is the runner, but he's going to make something happen as Kubler drops. The ankle tap tackle not effective, and the try is awarded for Musa Belli. Apologies, that's Musa Belliu. We're going to try to get that one right as the day goes on. And so Guelph answers back and puts 5 on the board with a kick right in front of the sticks. It's going to be Malin Hazel with the ball, so that'll be lining up for the kick. And they'll try to level this game out with about 8 minutes gone. Kick is up, and the flags are also up. So he adds the extras and brings it up to level at 7 with 8.5 gone.
A pretty amazing individual effort by Misubeliu, but interesting. I think they were kicking to compete there, but that northern wind down the Hudson, I think, held that up a little bit. You know, made it a little bit confusing. It's an odd-shaped ball bouncing in weird ways. Misubeliu picks it up and quite some speed to take advantage of that. About a 65-meter try.
Yeah, he definitely looked fast. That's certainly something to watch in that broken play. Sanchez restarts us, and that one's going to travel a little too far. Maybe the wind also added to that and drove it out of bounds. So a kick out on the full and the restart brings it back for a scrum at the center, as the laws dictate. I suppose they would have had the choice to re-kick, but I don't know if I've ever seen that choice made at this level. And so now, Guelph with some options. Middle of the field gives you split options that allows you to attack either side. Certainly a strain on the backs who have to match up and mark. And what we see is we've got a split expected, but a little bit of a stacked formation here by Guelph. They've got their 10 and their 15 stacked right behind the scrum. And so we should expect possibly a break in one way or the other. It's Loudenbach and Mick Alexander here in the four-screen, and they're where the break comes at. Kubler tries to get out and interrupt, and now some pressure on defense. Loudenbach up for the tackle. Now the ball comes back out. Big contact made and positive tackle there. And right back on his feet is Angles. Now the ball out. Again, good solid contact. Gonna have to roll. Now once again, little short pass, that flat pass, now the offload. And once again, it's the speedster out into the width who is gonna bring in 5 more points. So that's Musabeliu for his second. So clearly a feature of the attack is the speed on the right side of the screen for Guelph. This time Army pushes him into the corner, so certainly a tougher kick. We'll see what kind of leg Hazel has. Probably caught 7 meters off the touch line there. And he'll be thankful that the wind has died down. Kick is up. And looks to have been pushed in front of the post, so that one is not going to stick, and the score remains at 12-7.
Yeah, Mike, I don't think you can stress it enough. We can't forget this is a national championship side. If you kick that ball straight out on them, give them a scrum center, they're good with ball in hand. They're going to get their shoulders through, and you see that their rugby will be able to exploit those tiny mistakes that we make.
So the ball is back up. This time it's made at 10, fielded. Looks like it came off of an Army player, so Guelph will play. Thought I saw the arm out, but Churchella pulls it back down. Now the double contact drives things back, and the ball goes to the foot. That's Davies who sends it up, and Corbett who's going to send it back. It's fielded, but bounces backward, and now some territory could be on the way for Army. Touch finder's up and finds touch. So that's a good sequence in the kick battle, and one that I think if you're an Army fan, you're going to be satisfied with. One thing as you mentioned, Corbett's got a bomb of a leg.
Perhaps they brought that inside the 22, so back to where the kicker kicked it.
That is a great nuance. So again, just for those at home who don't understand the rules of the game, when the kicker is behind the 22, you can kick it directly into touch. But if you started outside the 22, pulled it back in, and then kicked it to touch, it's actually from the spot where the kick was made. And so Army, even happier with that, now get back to work inside the 22. Now, we don't have a fancy stats package, but my stats are that we've entered the 22 once and walked away with a try, so that's the efficiency you're looking for, and it's the captain, Liskey, who's going to try to do it again. About 2 meters out. Burrowing, we're about 1.5 meters. Now in, and the shoulders are forward. Army answers back and adds 5 to the score line. The leveler at 12. So that's solid work, and certainly to me, it seems like it jumps off that when Army gets the go forward, they look really strong, right? I mean, they're definitely working their way quickly down the field once the ball is in hand. The 2 is added, bringing the score now to 14, and Army the lead. But certainly got to keep an eye on Guelph's open rugby. I mean, they're playing some open style stuff, and that's potentially damaging. They get you on the run.
Yeah, so 2 entries by West Point, 2 tries. Guelph hasn't even entered the 22, played phase rugby inside the 22 and 2 tries as well. So exactly as you mentioned, some pretty big creative play by Guelph with some long tries.
So Hazel sends it back. It's caught, and Army will get back to work. This is Adams driving. The latch and drive has been effective so far. That's Lasky. Nice. Some conversation from the crowd before Corbett sends it back and again stays in. Now they look to potentially switch the field and attack the winger, but it's Trout here to field. And a nice lining kick. That could make a run. Well played there by the opposite to get his hands on it. Shows a little bit, decides to take it himself, and almost lost the ball in the process. Now Army trying to get some go forward on defense and attack that line with pace and ferocity, as is the goal of any double tackle. The charge down is effective. It's the captain, Liskey, in a foot race. He picks it up. Unfortunately, that looks like it was knocked. And referee says, we're going to hold for a second here and have a conversation and just see. Time is off. And the referee and the AR are going to come together and just see if that was knocked forward, which it did appear to be knocked. To me, from up here, it looked like Liskey tried to get a hand on it and lost it forward. So confirming, which is certainly nice to see. I didn't see who got that charge down. Did you see?
I think it was Liskey, and then Liskey with the play that they're discussing right now.
And so it should be a 5-meter scrum to Guelph, and it does appear that it will be. So the knock-on results in a scrum, but you can be sure that Army will try to put some pressure here on the Guelph scrum. For those of you at home who can hear our fans in the crowd, that stomp is giving our cameras some tricks. So we'll keep an eye on that for you, but we might not have too many close-up shots when those fans, strong fans today here at the Anderson Complex. So the clock is back on, and now the Army scrum will get to work. Hard engagement in the drive, but Guelph able to take it out quickly. They look to send it to touch, and they do so effectively. So good exit by Guelph under some real pressure there. I think they're going to be happy with the exit, but they can't breathe for too long because Army's lineout has looked pretty effective so far. Army showing 4 in and 1 in the channel. And there, it's Liskey up, and the small maul is made, but it's stolen by Guelph. So they had an answer to the maul, and that was to strip it. Now they go back, and Army's going to have to scramble to get into some good defensive shape. The attack is on. There is space out here and numbers. So Mick Alexander's going to have to do some work here. Does a nice job to tie up the opposite wing, and now the ball comes out. A little bit chopped and into the hands of Corbett, who says that is a free kick because it was off the foot. So good job calling the mark there. Slow things down and set yourself up for the touch finder. Again, for those at home who maybe don't understand that, when you're inside your 22 and the ball is kicked to you, you can put your arm up, that bent elbow, and call for a mark, which means that you get a free kick, which Corbett takes and sends it out, and now Guelph will have the line out.
The Guelph forwards are experienced and strong. So there's many of these players that played back in the September fixture as well as played in the national championship game of Canada back in November, including the lock Foley, 6'7", just going to be dangerous throughout the day in the line out.
Yeah, you bring a great point, right? I mean, if you look down the line here, the notes that we have say the first 5, the tight 5. Army steals the line out, sets them all. But the tight 5 for Guelph, you know, there's a story there. They're all contenders or U20 national team pipeline players for Canada. So these are some good core group players to have. And now the ball comes out. Corbett looks. Army going to try to find some space. That one looks like it could have traveled forward. And referee says it did, but we're playing the advantage. So that's unfortunate. That one did travel forward, but we were playing advantage, and so Army will still have the ball. And so a big win in the line out for Army sets things up, and looks like Trout has the ball in hand. That's a good kick. And brings it just outside the 22. So Trout lines that one up just right and gets all of it. So the throwing duties today look to be by Botterini, the 8. And he lines up once again. Now the ball is up and it's taken. Once again, they show them all, but this time they bring it out. Back to Botterini, who finds Adams. Good work on the ground there. And now Kubler brings it to the right. Little take himself, but now hands off to Walsh. And is back in position to take it, bring it out again. That's Smith with the ball. Now it's out to Liskey. Guelph definitely looking to strip that ball on the way down, doing a real good job. Are the Army Black Knights to hold on and keep their hands on the ball. Now the ball out. Inside the 22 now. Sanchez thinks he sees some space, looked for an offload. Good footwork there. And now the ball comes out. Little chip through. And that one, unfortunately, didn't get the roll they were looking for, but the pressure is there. And now out into the width and a kick on the fly, but finds touch. Now, it looked like they thought about the quick line out, but unfortunately, only the person who actually picks it up in touch can throw the quick line out. So that would have been a no-go as soon as he transferred it. Botterini goes, and up is Walsh, takes it down easily. Army's line out is looking solid. Now some misdirection. It's Kubler. And the ball is still in, so that's an unfortunate circumstance. Let's see what happens here. Looked like the flag on the far end by the AR went up and then was brought back down, saying that it was not in touch. And so there's going to be a conversation here. And referee says, no, I saw the flag go up. We're going to call that touch, and so Guelph will have the line out.
To go back a couple phases, Mike, I guess we can't have our cake and eat it too, because, you know, I like Ricky Corbett being creative and trying to find that space, but kicking away possession inside the 25-meter line is tough, and now we have a Guelph attacking again.
Yeah, I think he was probably looking for a little more roll out of that kick and maybe send it into the corner, and that is unfortunate. It just kind of held right there. And Guelph will get back to work, but not before Liskey steals it. And now the ball comes out, so a broken play, and Army will see if they can capitalize on a steal by today's captain. That's an unfortunate sequence there. That one's going to be knocked on, and a little bit of a late shove. Fans don't like it. Referee says, we'll square things up, we'll clean it up. But it's a knock on first, which means it's going to be a scrum to the team in white. Far end of the field, we see some players in white warming up. We'll see if that turns into subs or if they're just staying warm. We've got 24 gone or thereabouts on the field. And the ball is with Keiko, who's going to be putting it in. Now things are set. And solid drive. Contact is made. That was the 12, Tremaine. And big double contact, and back goes Guelph. That's the rhythm that you want to get into as a defense if you can, because that's going to disrupt just about everything. The shape, the timing, just about everything, and Guelph going to have to put it on the foot. That's Corbett back, and he starts kick tennis with a booming kick. That one's going to get over the head of the 13. He is able to field it. And now it comes back and finds touch. So far, I would say that Army is probably feeling pretty good about the kick battles. I mean, they're going their way, and they're setting up that line out, which has really looked pretty dominant.
Yeah, I think so, Mike. This game is settled after the first 20 minutes. You know, 2 long tries by Guelph. This game has settled with playing rugby in the Guelph end, off of the big boots from Corbett, from Trout, from Kubler. I think, once again, the attritional, keep the pressure on, this kind of anaconda constriction is playing into the West Point favor here.
Once again, it's Walsh goes up and takes it. They show Maul, but it's Adams who's into the space and going to drive on. The latch is on, and the ball is stripped on the way down. So that's a tactic that you're seeing Guelph really try, but not before Loudenback steals one and looks for some space. That's a great read, and he's going to add 5 more to the score line for being in the right place at the right time. That's great work by Chance Loudenback to make that read. Now, I'd have to look back at my notes, but I'm pretty sure he had a game the first time they played and maybe had multiple tries. I have to look back on that one.
Right place, right time, absolutely, Mike. But Chance Loudenbach does this almost every game, some sort of pick-off opportunity where he takes it off of a long try. Did it down at Life down in Georgia in the fall, and just puts himself in these positions to take advantage of the team doing that. Maybe a bit too much from Trollope right there. Want to take ball to ground and get their play underneath them a little bit, but Chance is going to exploit that every time.
So it's Corbett lined up. Certainly within his range, if he can get the right line on it. Kick is up, and unfortunately that one's pushed across the front, and so the score will remain 19-12 with just about 27 minutes gone.
And an uncharacteristic mistake by Trollope, as we've already talked about him, all-Canadian player, and you know, a massive human being, but a massive human being that won a national championship by playing 3 games in 5 days, so can move around the park and is a difference maker for this Guelph team.
So they go to the short high ball that just doesn't make 10. So that was very close. Referee right in position to make the call and says, "Nah, you hit it before it went 10. It's an aggressive play. Try to win the ball back here and get some possession. But that's going to result in a scrum to Army at the middle of the field. So now Army will show if they decide to split the field and how they decide to attack this good opportunity. On the right side of the field here, we've got Corbett, Trout, and McAlexander. On the left, Sanchez and Loudenback. with Leslie way out in the width. So far in the width, I just about lost him. That may be intentional. Kubler sets it in. Army doing a good job of holding, and now they break off and come to the right. It's Trout looking at space. McAlexander looks a little chip through. It's a good job, good defensive line there by the 12, but the tackle is made. Now the ball back out, and Army going to try to reestablish that defense. And that was certainly something that when we talked, well, traded emails, let's keep it clear, with the coaching staff at Guelph, they noted Army's physicality in defense, and I think that's certainly something we're seeing here. Trying to get that dominant tackle, drive things backward, and there's the double. So they've gone a couple meters backward here after a few phases, and so they decide to clear it, and once again it's through the foot of Henry, who now comes out, and they start to swing it and try to switch the field. Kubler has Sanchez outside, finds him. Little offload, thought about it, didn't give it, and now the ruck is formed. It's played quickly. Now back to the left. Botterini takes it into contact, lost his feet there, now comes across. Out into the width, and now Loudenback out there thought about trying to get it to Leslie, just couldn't quite get his arms free. And Kubler looking. The fullback was out of the play, but the 10 dropped in. And now they go to the short side of the field. Ball out to Adams. Drives on for a couple. Quick ball here. Kubler sees some space. Now he's isolated. He's going to have to make the play. But this is what we watched last year as a high schooler. I can't tell you the number of times that we saw him step into that A channel and punish people, and does so once again. The plebe adds 5, bringing the score line to 24. Congratulations to Porter Kubler.
Definitely not playing like a plebe scrum half out there. Mature, calm, seizes the opportunities. Really impressive individual effort there.
Worked out well, because I think maybe 2 phases before that, I caught some little soundbite coming from the coach's booth saying, hey, look up, because the 15 was involved in the play. That one gets over, and we add 2 more to bring it to 26. But I think, without that kick, it now opens up the A channel. He sees it and goes through it with confidence. Interestingly, though, the step was also there. He slowed up a bit because he knew he was isolated. There were about 5 jerseys around him. No one coming up from behind, and is able to still sort of slip through that seam. So good vision there. So now at 26-12, 31 gone. You wonder if we're going to see something change, some difference. Got some Army guys here warming up. Ball goes up. It's taken. That looked like Leslie on the catch. Works the ball back. And now Liskey into contact. The latch and drive by Lasky. Now the pick. Big head contact there, no wrap. That's a question mark for me. And now Kubler shows potential box kick, but swings it back to Corbett to use that boot. We hear the chase call coming from our side of the bleachers here, and they're going to have to, because Guelph has done a real good job of bringing that ball back around. Now the fold comes across the field, and it's Engel standing there. Guelph decides to take it into contact. Ball into space. It's a good tackle. That was Evan Potter, the number 6 on the carry. And now through, lost the handle, was the winger. And so that knock-on is going to result in an Army scrum. And I think we can say the 2-try scorer, Jan Misabelliu, has really, he takes the ball with real energy. He's a dangerous player. kind of guy you got to keep an eye on at all times. Give him a little seam and he's going to be through. So I did not catch who got the arm on him and was able to put the shoulder and knock the ball free, but that was a big tackle.
Yeah, shoulders were through. They had space in front of them. It's interesting, Mike. It's not the windiest day here, and even looking at the flag, but I feel like it has made a difference here. You had the one where we kicked it to touch off our restart, then Guelph came back and kicked it short. I think that West Point obviously needs to keep up this pressure for the next 7 minutes and take advantage of whatever is behind them with this wind, because obviously Guelph will have that at their backs during the second half today.
It's a great point. Yeah, I think that this is a spot where you cannot afford, even in the waning minutes, 6.5 minutes, can't take the foot off the gas here. I think you got to go back in. If you can get another one, put this thing out of reach, or at least put some real space between you, because they've shown they can score quick.
Absolutely. And to reflect back in September up in Ontario, Guelph dominated the first 15 minutes of the second half in that competition and threw some tries up quickly. So this match is far from over, and I think this is an opportunity that West Point wants to take advantage of.
Now the free kick is signaled, so Tyler Ciccarella did not like what he saw there, and now it's out into the space. And the groundwork is there. That was Engels taking us forward and looks to get it back, and does. A little bit of footwork, decides to bury his head. Kubler thought about it, now brought it out. Into some space, Sanchez does a nice job to get the offload. Crunching hit on Liskey, and now the ball goes to the men in white. Now the ball comes out. The numbers out here on the right where they're looking are dangerous. And some footwork. Now the attempt, it's in the touch. That one went off the white player. And there's some enthusiasm, as you might expect, from the Army fans and bench, because that was a big play. Guelph did have the numbers, it looked like, and they were able to shove him into touch. Looked to me that it actually was the attempted offload and then went back off of the white player. So it'll be Botterini throwing in. They decide to go up to the front. It's Engels. Ball's taken down. Now they're going to join and try to maul this thing into some space. Still moving. Referee says that's the same maul. And it has found the ground, it appears, and found it in a way that is okay. So now Black has the ball through Adams to Trout. Tackle. There's a player trapped in there. We'll see if they can get the penalty, and they do. So high IQ play there. I did not catch who called it, but somebody said, not rolling, sir, and caught up with that. Trout sends another bomb down the field. This one does not find touch, unfortunately, and it is sent back. And it's fielded. Now they look to change the field. Through Kubler, they decide to swing it out. They've got some numbers on the outside if they can get there. That one may have gone forward. The Guelph fan said it was. Referee says we're okay. And now Guelph going to look to get back to that scoring side of the field. Big contact. And I'm not sure who has the ball. It looks like Guelph has retained it, but not before a penalty for diving, or for offsides, excuse me. So they'll get some pressure relief and try to set up a scoring opportunity as the clock ticks to 37 and change. Henry sends it, finds touch, but nice Kubler does a fantastic job. Looks like he was watching some Six Nations, because that is exactly what we saw the French do. Hold that ball in, and it's potentially caught by Harmy. Now the ball comes out. Good handle. And now it looks like Corbett going to find Loudenback, the try scorer, decides to hand it to Mick Alexander, who's going to walk in and grab 5 more. So that's pretty solid work to keep that ball in, bring the ball across the field, and swing it to the corner, get to the winger, dot it down. 38 gone, scoreline at 31-12.
Yeah, you take it back. We had the long arm penalty. Nick Trout unfortunately missed his touch, and you're like, shoot, 3 or 4 minutes left. Are we going to get the opportunity again? And then Porter, what an amazing individual effort to keep that ball in bounds. And then some great rugby. Ricky Corbett finding space, getting shoulders through, kind of really calm under pressure, and then just hands for Mick Alexander to walk through the try zone there. Some great rugby started by a great play by Porter.
Yeah, one thing I was impressed with there, Loudenback really held his defender. You know, he thought about going himself, then thought about giving the quick offload, didn't, held him just long enough to really get him to bite, and then it became a walk-in try. Smart heads-up play there. Corbett sends it, and that one, unfortunately, a little to the left, and so the score remains 31-12 with under a minute, so says the field on the clock. Hazel sends it back up. Again, goes short. This one still doesn't make 10. It's touched, and they're going to go ahead and get a scrum at the center. So I think you're right. I mean, that wind is playing tricks a little bit because it doesn't look to be all that gusty. But it must be as that ball gets up about 20 meters, and it just kind of stops. You get the distinct impression that Guelph has worked on that short high ball and tried to get that ball back, because that ball is placed exactly where he's striking it. It's just not making the 10 because that wind is stopping it. So Army will get back to work in the scrum at the 50. And this time we've got Corbett, Trout, and Mick Alexander near us on the right side of the field. Sanchez, Loudenback, and Leslie once again on the left. Ball is placed. Now Guelph gets their drive on. This one goes to Army. Referee says you came up. You did not keep it flat and straight. So that lift is going to put it back in Army's hands, and they'll make some decisions. It looks like Trout has it, so the assumption is we'll try to find touch here. That one is driven, and it does find touch, and a great kick.
Beautiful touch finder, but I was wondering if Ricky was going to look to go to points there, but an amazing strike by Trout. I assume we'll see a maul here and try to end this half with another try.
Yeah, great position to attack. Bottarini throws it in. Find angles, and there is the maul, and everybody sort of knew it was coming, but it still got momentum. And
4.
Yeah, 4 did look a bit like he came around it. Kubler decides to play it. Now the ball out to Sanchez. Puts one in the corner. Leslie is going to be able to get there. And that is fantastic work. What an amazing try between Sanchez and Matt Leslie, taking advantage of the big try zones here at Anderson on Warrior Field. He drops one into the corner, and that's some highlight reel stuff between the 10 and the winger. Man, you got to love to see that. I think that part of the game, you open that up, and all of a sudden now you've got lots of questions you can ask a defense. Corbett may not love it because he's way out in the corner. This is a far strike, but he's got a leg, so can't count it out. But he's beyond the 5 meter, probably 3 meters off the try line. Kick is up. It might make it. Oh. It does make it. Wow. So lots going well for the team in black, and that's the momentum you're looking for. Hats off to Ricky Corbett for an absolute driver off the tee and sends it, gains the extras to bring the scoreline 30-12 as referee Chirichella signals halftime. So here we are at half. It's 38-12, and we've seen some rugby. I mean, what's the takeaways for you, Colin?
Gosh, it was a quiet Anderson Rugby complex in that first 11 minutes with those two Musabelio tries, but really amazing rugby for the last 29 minutes from the Black Knights, and almost all the rugby played down in that Guelph end. But as I kind of mentioned, I'm interested to see this game flip in the side switch to see if Guelph can maybe take advantage of the wind at their backs. But some impressive rugby by the Black Knights and exactly what they needed. Some good opportunistic plays with our playmakers making some great decisions, and then the tried, true, and tested forwards doing their job. Slow attritional rugby. So excited for the next 40 that we got in front of us.
Couldn't agree more. Great stuff. I think a lot, bounce of the ball, as they say in rugby, can be tricky, but a lot went the way of Army. So can't ever count on that, things kind of going your way. I mean, one of the things that stood out for me is, between Corbett and Trout, I mean, they are really putting the ball into tough territory. That sort of territorial kicking game, it's an underrated part of the game. And if you don't have that dialed in at this level, you're going to be in some trouble. Those are really two new kickers, right? Two people who haven't done as much kicking for the Army lineup. So there could be pressure walking into today. They don't seem to be feeling it one bit. And then you've had a couple of little, sort of those little dink kicks over the top. Kubler hit one, and I think that moves the ball down the field and does exactly as you say. It puts your back against the wall if you're Guelph, and then you're getting that defensive pressure constantly. So seems to me like things are going as planned, or as you would expect the plan to have been. We'll go ahead and set the mics down, take a little break, stretch our legs a bit, and be back with you for the second half. Thanks again for joining us here on Army Night Vision on YouTube, and we'll be bringing you the second half of the Cannon Cup between Army and Guelph.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we would like to recognize the start of a special tradition within Army West Point Rugby. This year, our first class cadets select a most valuable teammate from the West Point community, a mentor, instructor, TAC officer, or leader who played a significant role in helping them complete the 47-month journey through the United States Military Academy. At this time, we ask that you turn your attention to the center of the pitch, where Head Officer Representative Colonel Pete Chapman and the graduating firsties will recognize these individuals who helped guide them along the way. Lucas Perez recognizes Major Richard Dolce for mentoring him in the past year and playing a major role in his transition into aviation, while helping him grow both as a cadet and as a future officer. On behalf of Andrew Bardak, Lucas Perez recognizes Captain Chad Powers for the impact he had on Bardak's development as a leader, teaching him how to address challenges positively, understand commander's intent, and shaping him during his leadership detail. Dakota Wagner recognizes Sergeant First Class Jacob Bradbury for the substantial role he has played in his leadership development, setting the example daily of what a good leader should be through his actions and professionalism. On On behalf of Jacob Botterini, Dakota Wagner recognizes Major Noah Curry for the mentorship he provided Botterini as an instructor and for demonstrating the leadership, values, and character the cadets should strive to emulate. On behalf of Joey Knight, Keegan Lynch recognizes Major Noe Curry for the positive influence he had on Knight during his time in class, creating an environment that encouraged learning, growth, and leadership. Keegan Lynch recognizes Ms. Nicole Thomas for serving as his academic advisor and mentor, and for providing guidance not only academically, but through many of the challenges he faced during his time at West Point. Jack Feitner recognizes Major Joseph Kearney for inspiring his decision to branch engineers and for serving as a mentor throughout his capstone work, helping shape his development as a future officer. On behalf of Dylan Liskey, Jack Feitner recognizes Dr. Nathaniel Helminiak, his weapons engineering professor and capstone advisor, for the role he played in Liskey's academic development and for fostering his love of engineering. Tyler Anderson recognizes Lieutenant Colonel Robert Craig for mentoring him since fleet year, teaching the importance of disciplines, work ethic, and high standards, and setting the example of what an infantry officer should be. On behalf of Gabe Savage, Tyler Anderson recognizes Colonel Scott Catalenic for the mentorship he provided to Savage as a DAC, welcoming him into his home and helping prepare him to enter the engineer branch. On behalf of George Engels, Sebastian Goldsworthy recognizes Major Travis Hines for the guidance he gave Engels during summer leadership training and throughout the academic year, helping him learn how to lead under pressure. Kieran Murray recognizes Colonel E. John Gregory for pushing him beyond his perceived limits in the classroom and setting a high standard that helped shape him as a student, leader, and future officer. On behalf of Hunter Norris, Kieran Murray recognizes Lieutenant Colonel Jeff Van Sickle for the mentorship he provided Norris throughout his time at West Point and for setting the example of leadership, character, and faith. Patrick Gazer recognizes Major Johnny Cotton for his commitment to his development as an infantry officer, providing constant mentorship and helping build the confidence needed to succeed at the next level. On behalf of Tariq Adams, Patrick Grazer recognizes Colonel Victor Deakins for the support he provided Adams during his time at the Academy, offering guidance and officer. Hosting cadets and always making him feel supported as he prepared to become an Army officer. Ladies and gentlemen, please join us in recognizing this year's Army West Point Men's Rugby Most Valuable Teammates.
All right, welcome back, sports fans, rugby fans, Black Knight Army fans. We are back here at Anderson Rugby Complex, Warrior Field, and we are anxious to start the second half, as is the team from Ontario. They are on the field, ready to go and ready to get things moving again, as the Army squad re-enters the pitch. To the sounds of some AC/DC, we got 40 minutes gone. The second half will start, and we will expect to see some changes in white. I mean, some adaptations maybe. We don't see many changes in jerseys. No personnel changes as far as I can tell. But they now have the wind, as you said, Colin, and we would expect them to try to come out and get the momentum early if they're going to get this thing rolling in the right direction.
Yeah, so, looks like no changes on either side. Trying to just take one peek around. But I know Guelph will want to rebound from that first half and try to throw some tries up there. Aggregate, right? We can't forget 48-12 for the inaugural Cannon Cup, Mike.
It's an important detail. It's an important detail. So some last-minute adjustments there between the captain, Liskey, and referee Tyler Churchella, and it looks like it's Sanchez who has the ball. And just going to make some clarification with the Guelph captain, Trollope. Who had a moment, really, in the game, kind of glazed over, but where the two captains met each other there on the field, and Trollope welcomed Liskey with a big hard shot as Liskey was a little off balance. So the sport that we expect, the level of intensity and physicality that we expect, it has been a good game so far. So we are now at the center. Looks like we're getting ready to start. The clarifications have been made, and referee signals that we are back on. Sanchez sends it. And it does go 10. It was handled by Army, may have been knocked forward. No indication. Guelph will get the ball rolling. Now the ball comes out, a little pullback pass, and looking to get it out into the backs. Good job there by Leslie to come up and create pressure. And the double tackle is in. Now the ball comes out. And Army has marched them back 15 meters with that defensive pressure. So back to work on defense is Army, and that's exactly what they were doing in the first half. They'll hope to continue. It's mishandled, but referee says you were in the space, and the penalty is called. Adams a little slow to get up, but resets his feet, and now it looks like it's going to be the 15, Josh Henry, who will try to find touch. Does so with no problem. So that might be the first adjustment they've made. No aggressive kicks to touch where Kubler might get his hands on it again. And this time they find it easily. And it's Alistair Yeomans who's going to be doing the throwing in, the hooker. And Army looks to go and get up, and it's Walsh who does the steal. And now out to the right. Loudenback sees space, decides to put it on his foot. And now some pressure on Henry. Henry's going to have to make a play here. Does so. That one may not find touch. And once again, it's Kubler on the line. Now, a little step. And the ball is over. You've got a player trapped on the bottom in the try scorer, Missabellu. Liskey. Out to Walsh. Hands are on the ball, but referee says you lost it. Now it's Adams. Loudenback. Good work on the ground, set the ball, and out to Liskey it comes. Now, the dominant tackle by Guelph. And a little chip over the top. Corbett puts Sanchez almost into space. That's the bounce of the ball that didn't go their way, but man, that was an aggressive play. I like the creativity. Ball comes out. through the big man, and he bumps off the first and continues on his feet and just churns and brings it almost out to the 50. Little flick out to the width, but poorly handled, and that's going to result in a knock-on. That's unfortunate, and I wonder if the try scorer, Misabelliou, has a little bit of discomfort. Saw him get up slow from the bottom of the pile. Couldn't tell if it was a shoulder or an arm, and we see some subs coming on for Army. Looks to me like we've got Isaac Carter and Gabe Savage coming on, and Tariq Adams stepping off. I did not see who else was coming off. That could be the freshman, Smith. So some changes there. Not quite sure, though. I could be wrong. But looks to me like we've got some front row changes. Now things are set. Ball comes in, and they're looking to keep it in. It's off the foot and out the back. Now swings out to the side. Into the space they go. It's going to be a foot race. Corbett looks, little bit of a pass offline, but it's taken nicely. And Mick Alexander looks to gain a few more. You just kind of got the feeling, and there it is. That's a great ball. It's going to take a nice bounce. That's got to be an intentional knock-on and maybe a penalty try. There's going to be a conversation here. Referee says the knock-on was by Army first, and so it's actually going to be a scrum to Guelph. That was a pretty slick play there. Good work. Nice little chip over the top. And you kind of get the feeling, I started to say, that if they had had that pass online, McAlexander was really starting to pick up pace. He was going to blast through, and that pass was just a little behind him. Had to slow up for it, and that may have been what set things in motion.
Yeah, tough pass off the left hand, but if connecting there with the pace that McAlexander has, you could easily see him going into the try zone there. Interesting call, though, with the knock, because even that coming down with that right arm is a little concerning there by the Guelph player, but hopefully West Point can keep him pinned in here.
Scrum collapses under its own weight, says the referee, and we'll just do it again. Nothing foul, no foul play there, and reset it, start again. Yeah, I think that one we'll have to look back on the video to be sure, but they may have gotten away with one on that one because it did look the way he was chasing that ball. Got a downward-facing palm, and that's usually sort of the smoking gun. So the scrum resets. Guelph will look to get out of trouble here.
This is a dangerous attacking team. I mean, it took Matt Leslie last time we were down here to throw in a shot. I wouldn't be surprised if they try to keep ball in hand again.
Certainly set up to be, and there it comes. They bring it out to the 22 quickly, and then some. It's Henry looking. The try score, Misabelliou. Tackle is made by Trout, but not before Guelph gets to the 50. Now Army comes back, and with some authority, it's Lasky and Angles. And once again, the double tackle showing its dominance. Ball hits the deck, but it's fielded. That's Bauman, still on his feet. Lasky with another tackle, but Bauman able to get the ball out of hand. So this is the game I would think Guelph wants to play. They want to keep that ball moving. And they get the matchup they're looking for and trollop on the width, but the double does the job, and now it redirects and comes back. That's Shaw. Now out to Henry. Back inside. That's the 12, Tremaine. Ooh. Big hit again. Their Army is over the ball, but referee says you were off your feet. Your hands were on the deck, and so that's a penalty. That's one of those tricky moments, again, for those that are sort of new to the game. Rugby is a game played on your feet, and if you are anywhere in contention for that ball, your hands are on the ground, you got to get out of that space. Henry sends it to touch. finds it, and about 10 meters out, Guelph will have the line out.
Yeomans, this hooker for Guelph, is an experienced player. I don't necessarily think he's got his dart under control yet today, but I'm sure they'll look to one of their big locks to try to get this and keep possession here. Maybe Foley the 5 there, and maybe a driving maul off that. But you got to make the connection first, and we'll see if he can do that right now.
They do show the big man, but then peel off, and once again, Army gets a hand on it in the line out. Kubler's in a tough spot there, going to have to clean things up and find some safety. That looked to be Engels. Army setting up to exit. Big contact. Referee says the ball was out. And so, just as you said, it was Yeomans who spots it and just tattoos Kubler because the ball was out. So this is the scrum position you want if you're cheering on the gentleman in white. Army has looked pretty strong in the scrum so far, so we'll see if they can get their feet under them and keep the leverage they've been generating. But I would think you'd expect to see some push from the team from Ontario. They bring it out quick and decide to go into the centers through Tremaine. Now the ball is in the try zone. No call yet. Don't know if it was a knock on or held up. It is held up, signals Chiricella. Excuse me, Chicharella. Apologies, Tyler. And now Army will get things restarted with the goal line dropout. Through the foot of Corbett, who brings it out just inside the 40-meter line. And Guelph looks to bring it back in, does so, and with some effect, get it to the big man. Now it's moving quickly. This is through the hands of Henry, looking into the width. This is the 14. Hazel. And he looks to be driven into touch. So some threatening stuff there from Guelph, but Army able to shove it into touch, and they'll look to get the line out and decide how to exit this territory. Up goes Walsh, and referee says that one is not straight. And so Guelph is going to be in a real good attacking position here.
So first 10 minutes expired out of this second half. A lot of rugby down in the Army side of the pitch, as we kind of anticipated there. They're weathering the storm. Some good play. Holding up that try is huge. I know it's a huge emphasis from Coach Sherman in a very difficult play to take and be successful at. But we'll see if they can continue to take these punches from Guelph and retract their attack.
So once again, scrums are formed. Call is made. Keiko picks it up, brings it out into the centers. They look to drive on. They're 2 meters in. Quick ball. Not a whole lot of gain there. Through the hands of Davies. Now it comes back out. They go to the big man. This is who you want carrying the ball in short territory. Now they swing it out, look to the width, and it's going to be a walk-in for Henry. So the 15 gets them on the board. Unfortunately, Army not able to match those numbers, and it looked like we may have lost some footing there out in the width, but good ball movement by Guelph to get 5 more on the board. they didn't spend a whole lot of time hammering in that close quarters. They had one, maybe two phases, and then they were looking to swing it, and that was an effective attack plan. 38-17 with 52 and a half gone. So it's Hazel who will line up for the extras. Chase is on. That one is easily made. Going to bring it up to 19. And Guelph comes out and chips away at the score line. Going to get the ball back and look to get back to work as quickly as they can. Things feel like they're warming up here a little bit at Anderson, so that might be a factor as we get into the game a little later in the day. We'll see. Sun is shining. Sanchez sends it, and it's brought in by Tremaine. Ball looked to be out. Now it's out into the first pod there. Good hard contact. Again, backward goes the white jersey, and now they're going to put it over the top. It's a big high ball. Looks like Corbett's going to call for it. Makes the catch. Thought about going one way, brings it back the other. That one again, not forward. That one looked forward, but we had a bad angle, and so away we go. Sanchez is who brings it out to Lasky, who shows. Gains a few more. Great work there. And now the ball comes out. In goes Trout. Once again out to Lasky. Out to Angles, who takes a big hard hit, but's able to recycle. Hammering forward, looked to be Leslie. Bit of a high tackle called from the audience. Did look like Kubler had some contact above the shoulder. It's Carter who gets the ball and drives on. Now the ball comes out. Angles swings it, the pullback pass. Corbett takes it into traffic, and referee says, we're going to take a minute there and give Leslie a chance to catch his breath, who's down on the field. So we're going to pause the clock there. Time is off as the trainers make their way on. And hopefully Matt Leslie is doing okay. Just took a hard shot.
Yeah, it was after his pretty powerful carry. He was dragging some Guelph defenders on his back. Maybe landed on the ball. Wind knocked out of him. Fingers crossed there, but some good attack by West Point, finding the space there. And potentially some Guelph reserves coming on.
Leslie re-enters the game. Seems to be okay. And yeah, it looks like you're right. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 9 all stepping off for Guelph. And on the Army side, it looks like Dorfler is warming up and maybe entering the game soon. So we'll see if we can get where those, or the names on those replacements. We know the front row is brand new. It looks like 16, 17, 18, which is Barrett Rishi, Lushish, and Powell in the front. Looks to be 21, Oliver Alp, or Alpi, has entered the game at the scrum half position. And now we restart the clock. Kubler places it, comes back quick. Referee says, you brought it down, and that's a penalty. And so Guelph feels good about that. Army retreats. And the infusion of energy is apparent for the jersey in white. Henry with the ball in hand is going to find touch. Does so. Just shy of midfield. And it looks like it's going to be 16, Barnett Ritchie, who's going to throw the ball in. I also see Matt Robinson in the 19 jersey has entered the game, and he's in the line out. Ball is up. It's taken nicely. Now it's out. Little quick pass inside. Strike play through the try scorer, but defended well. And now it's Army back to work on defense, trying to drive. Little step through the space there. And there may be, that looked close to being stolen, but referee says, nah, you were part of the ruck, can't put your hands in there. And so penalty goes the way of Guelph. Once again, Henry with the ball is going to go to the opposite side of the field and try to find touch. Kick is up and finds touch and then some. And they're going to be setting up about 7 meters, maybe 10 meters out of the try zone. So at 38-19, they're going to try to go back and run that same script that they ran, get that ball moving toward the center of the field and get back on the board. Army's done a nice job of defending the line out, so you got to think that if they go to the front, Walsh is in good position and has done a real good job again today of getting up and disrupting things. Looks like they go to the back, but it is stolen by Engels this time, and now Army forms. Little bit of a melee there on the ground, not quite sure what's going on, but it looks like Army's going to try to exit. Kubler swings it out. Try to run and get some position. This is an important couple of meters and get your shape set. Now they set up. Possible box kick coming. And there it is. And the pressure reliever finds touch, but it's a quick throw in. And now it's Alpe who's going to look to put it into the corner. Fielded by Corbett. And Army will have to get back to work with the exit strategy. So once again, the pressure in this corner of the field is proving to be important. Army did it in the first half, and Guelph is trying to make a living of it here in the second half. Now things are set. Kubler with the ball. Again, pops it up and over. This time it's not in touch. And the replacement, number 23, Will Gordon, takes the ball. And once again, right at the 22. There's the quick tip pass across, but it's snagged in the air. Could have been Loudenback again, and now Army looks to make some movement. Once again, it's Leslie fighting, trying to stay in. And referee says you were okay. There was not in touch. Sanchez puts it into the corner, and it's the big man coming down to try to create pressure with Loudenback, but the touch creates the goal line dropout. So that's some high pressure work there and a good chase by Loudenback and Walsh to force Guelph to touch it down.
Guelph's lucky they didn't get a penalty there. That's a tackle and a drive into and pulling a player that's tackled into touch.
Yeah, great.
And they're asking for the call that they brought him into touch. It's
that's
like,
a great nuance, right? Tackle, you got to release that thing. The tackle is made. Now the goal line dropout to restart things at the 60th minute. It's fielded cleanly. And Bottarini brings it into space. Now the ball comes out through the hands of Carter, the pullback pass. Late pass, well played there to Trout. Guelph is on the ball. They say they've got it. Referee says you were part of the tackle. You've got to get out of the space. Kubler goes quick, tries to capitalize on bad position, but it's Lasky who follows up. Dancing through space, goes the second row. And now Engels drives on, 1 meter, 2 meters. Kubler gives it a shot. He's 1 meter out. Now it's Carter who sends the captain Liskey through, and the arm is up. That's an important try for Army to get the momentum back, and they bring the scoreline to 43 in a great position on the field for Corbett to kick the 2. So I think you got to feel good about that real pressure attack coming from lots of places. I mean, they're putting it on the foot, they're putting it through the space, they're grinding it through the middle. Once again, once they get the game going forward, they look real dangerous.
Yeah, I completely agree, Mike. And a great drop ball from Isaac Carter back to the scrum or the fly half, Noah Sanchez to get the spaces, to get the triangles in the defense, and then get through the space. And then once again, Porter Kubler going the quick there, like maybe not what we typically see, where we would go to touch and get our maul going, but exploits the opportunity, keeps us on the front foot, and keeps that pressure on. I love to see it.
So 45-19 as Corbett sends the extras over. And, yeah, it's a great point. That's some front foot rugby all the way. And hard to defend, you know. I mean, listen, as we say all the time, it's really hard to play this game going backwards. And so Guelph experienced it that time, and Army does a nice job. I think your shout-out to Carter on the pullback pass is warranted. That's the kind of skill you're looking for from your big men. Ball is up. Again, a solid kick. It finds touch. And so it's going to be line out to White. And now
you can hear the Guelph back line talking right there. They wish they would have caught it and immediately gone quick there, which I don't blame them for trying to do. It's been successful when they've been able to do that, because the set piece, the line out right now, hasn't been going their way all day. Specifically with regards to the throws, where we're kind of all over them there.
Couple more subs and finishers enter the game. It looks like we've got Johnson entering the game for Army. Now the ball comes out, as well as Thompson in the game. And I believe Dorfler might have gone out there too. Engels exited the game. See if we can get who else stepped off. Now the chip through. Doesn't find a lot of space, but there is some green, and now Henry picks it up. Ball comes out. Now the pressure up. The attempt on the ball. Referee says you had it. That's the infusion of energy you're hoping for. And that is a successful poach right around midfield. Trout with ball in hand. Little conversation here. Going to make a decision on which side to go. Looks like he'll go into the wind. And Henry takes the page from Kubler and decides to send it back in. Real good play, and now it's out in the hands of Corbett. Army has the ball. There's the pullback. It's Gamboa who's entered the game and now looks to swing it. So Gamboa on for Kubler, and it's Isaac Carter who's met with some stiff contact. And Dorfler takes it in. Gamboa sets up, puts it on his foot. That's a nice contestable ball, and down comes the ball, and it is backward, says the referee. Looked like a knock, but here comes Guelph, who's going to take the transition and really try to shove it back into space. Great tackle. Trout, absolutely textbook tackle. But referee says you were on the wrong side of the ball, and so the penalty goes to Guelph.
I think Liam Walsh saw the ref put his hands up like ball's out and came right around to pick it up. That was kind of interesting right there, but maybe a missed knockdown there, but we still got to organize.
Yeah, that transition, unfortunately, didn't look crisp, and they took advantage of it. So the kick into the corner, and now the line out will be set. Guelph will try to attack once again. So not as efficient this half for Army. They've entered a couple of times and not been able to come away with points, but the scoreline still very much in their favor as the clock ticks at 60, almost 66 gone. Ball is up. Walsh tried to get a hand on it, got over him. The maul is set. And referee may have the arm out for the penalty, says the maul did not find ground in a legal way. So Guelph playing the advantage. There's the pullback pass. Now it comes across. Referee says that was a knock, but we're going to play the penalty. So Army hit for pulling the maul down, which of course you cannot do. Now the drive over, very close to the line, is Guelph. Ball comes out. That one looks to have been over, and the arm is up. So Guelph adds 5 with the drive on, bringing the score line to 45-24. And unfortunately, looks like Gamboa is going to need a second. So the trainer makes their way out, and we'll see who's going to take the shot here. Could still be the 14, Hazel, not sure. Can't quite see the number from here. That would be the 21, the new scrum half, Oliver Alpe. Looks to be a left footer. It's a low kick, hits the cross, hits the upright, and unfortunately bounces out. So that is, it was a good strike, real low line drive, but just caught that upright. And unfortunately, it looks like there may need to be a tactical substitution for Gamboa, who is still getting looked at. Looks like maybe an ankle. And unfortunately, right around the base, that's a scrum half injury all day when that thing collapses on you and catches you the wrong way. So hopefully Isaac doing okay. Referee says the time is off, so we're going to hold it there while they make a decision. And it looks like Gamboa will come off, and we'll see how Army makes the change. Who will slot in at 9? Because I do not believe they can bring Kubler back on the field. I'm not quite sure about that. So after a bit of a conference, we're back, and Sanchez looks to restart the game. Sends it down inside the 22. It's fielded. Thompson involved in the tackle. Now the ball comes out. Once again, Thompson as part of that tackle. Along with Savage. The ball goes up. It was close for Dorfler. It's fielded now by Leslie. Puts his body in good position. Trout thinks he's got some space. Goes through. Good contact. It's Carter. Henry thought he had it, but he's blasted out of the space by Thompson. Now the latch and drive. Once again, this time referee says you do have it. And so that one was Barnett Ritchie who's able to get hands on and keep him on under contact and get the poach.
Yeah, Mike, I don't think we put on a replacement for Isaac Gamboa. I think we have 14 people on the pitch right now, and to my understanding, he should not be able to come on. If it was a front row replacement injury, in order to continue to have scrums, he would be able to return to the game. But I don't believe we've put anybody else on.
So that would indicate that the bench has been cleared. The finishers are all on, and you know, Coach Sherman is out of potentials, or just more comfortable playing 14 than asking one of the flankers maybe to drop into the centers or make some sort of a switch that allows you to have another back on the field. It's going to be a line out to Guelph. They show and then go long, but it is stolen this time by Liskey, and it comes out. And that looked like it was Corbett acting as the 9. Now the ball out into space. Sanchez sees McAlexander, shape is set. It's Carter who takes the late flat pass, able to handle it. Good hands there. Now the ball comes out. And actually could be Trout stepping in and playing number 9. Can't quite make it out from here, but looks like him, and did not catch the call, but it looks like it's going to be a scrum to the white jersey.
Maybe a knock somewhere in that setup for the kick.
That would certainly make sense, right? Like base of the scrum, maybe mishandled a little bit, just dropped it forward.
And obviously Nick isn't used to being down there trying to make that play, so.
You know those number 9s, they make it look easy. And then you got to get in there and you're like, wait a second, I don't love it in here. Referee blows it up and we start this thing again. No signal or call, so probably just some clarification and going to reset it. Now the engagement. Ball is placed. Good shape on the scrum. And Alpe looks to pull it out. Does so. They swing it out to the right side of the field. The pullback pass, and there is some space there. The number 10 driving through. Great little offload at the end in contact, and they're able to get it down and add another 5. So Guelph brings the score up to 29, and we will try to get a number for you on the scorer. But that's good quality work. Just saw the numbers and brought it where it needed to go.
Pretty beautiful set-piece attack there, especially attacking left to right, because even that might have been the first pass to the playmaker, you know, that left to right pass. Most people are more comfortable going right to left. It did soar on him a little bit, but to be able to take it, kind of regroup and continue the attack was pretty impressive. But we know these Guelph backs, quite skilled.
So that could have been 23, Will Gordon with the try. Not 100% sure. Alpe sets up. Kick is up, and that's a great strike. And it is over. So with 6.5 to play, this scoreline is inching back up. Guelph has to feel real good about this, get the ball back, make some things happen. Can't say it's out of reach, but the clock is going to become a factor. Army continues to play a man down because of the Gamboa injury. The ball comes up and is taken by Leslie in the air, who finds space and continues on his feet well into the 22. He has shown, but the penalty is there. Referee says, Thompson, you came through, maybe from the side, did not go through the channel. That is an unfortunate one because there was some momentum there. Henry lines up to find touch and does so easily, sending the ball into the upper deck.
Beautiful restart kick by Noah Sanchez.
Yeah, and really exploiting some of the talents. I mean, Leslie has had really a great year aerially. You know, he does a nice job in the air on those kicks. That's a courageous part of the game, and you know, you got to get up there and put your body on it, and he does. So that one, he was able to get in there and grab that thing. So Army will get back and try to make some noise in the line out. They've done a great job here all day. It's Walsh. He's not able to get up, but the ball comes out. Referee says that's a free kick. You were in the space. And so now the quick tap comes, and now the ball comes out. So this is where you would expect Guelph to be real comfortable trying to move that ball around.
22.
And it's held in, so well done there by Corbett to keep the ball in. Henry Now looks, swings it out to the width. Big contact, could have been high. Referee says we're okay there. Now the ball out. Army looking to fold over quickly and try to create that defensive shape. That might have been knocked. Referee says the ball's out. It was not knocked, but it was out. Guelph able to get there. Corbett now joins. And Sanchez bumps over into the pendulum. Guelph still trying to work. They've got a player down. Big contact right at midfield. Looked like Carter involved. Guelph has 2 players down. Huge hit by Thompson. And they're going to have to stop the game because it's too close to the injured player. And so Jordan Thompson says, fellas, my bad on the penalty. I'm going to come up and make a smashing hit. Does so, drives the game backward. Well done, but the game is going to have to stop, and we'll stop the clock there because of the injured player. 76:25 says our clock on the field, which is a little bit off from what we've got on the graphic, but of course the official clock is on the wrist of the referee.
Yeah, it is interesting to kind of play this self-imposed man down, but I understand why Coach Sherman is doing it. 1, you don't want to get anyone else potentially injured. 2, I'm not even sure he has any reserves available. And then 3, it's a great opportunity to practice it, man-down rugby for 14 minutes and working on that spacing and the communication that's needed. So I can, with a lineup that we might not always see or have the opportunity to do this. So
yeah,
good experience for the players.
I agree. Courageous coaching, but this is how you get better. This is how you learn. So why not give it a shot? You're getting ready to enter the playoffs. Never do know the situation you'll be in, and so far they've been stepping up and really working hard to hustle. So we'll restart things with a scrum. And it looks like the question on the field was, can we bring a front row player in, bring it up to 15? I guess bring a front row player in and have him play at scrum half maybe. But Liskey is out with the backs. And referee is ready to set this thing in motion. Now the ball is placed, and the second replacement scrum half is in. That one's bobbled. A knock-on advantage is on. Kick over the top. Big pressure coming, and referee says we're going to come back for that one. So we did not catch the number of who is playing scrum half for Guelph. We'll see if we can get that, but it looks like Alpi, the 21, has made his way off, and it looks like they have brought their number 9 back in, or at least someone wearing the 9 jersey. So it could be Logan Keiko, but not 100% sure on that.
Generous to come back to the knock-on advantage after we kicked it away, but we'll take it.
So Trout puts the ball in. This time, Guelph has the advantage and gets the penalty for that one. So they'll be happy with the result. And they decide to quick tap and take it into contact through their number 8, Evan Wilson. Plenty of drive. They're inside the 40. Now out to the left, looking for space. That tip ball was okay. Looked like maybe it went forward, but man, that was close. Now the big man with the ball in hand. That's the number 5. Still coming out, still looking out into the width. Going to try to test those numbers back inside. It's mishandled, brought through Dorfler, who is on the move, still on his feet. He has one person coming to help. He's a little isolated here. Great job by Army to get there, and it's Carter who swings it out. And unfortunately, it's a mishandled ball, and that is going to result in a knock-on. So some exciting stuff. 79-37 gone. Referee says we have not expired, but does look at the watch and says we've got enough time for at least one more play. Unfortunately for Dorfler, he just lost the footing just enough to let the competition catch up with him. Thought he was off to the races, and that's unfortunate. 80th minute and then some on the field, so this may be the last play. And it's going to be the put-in for the team in white. Scoreline 45-31. Ball is in, and now it comes out toward the left. Swings out into the width. They're looking, going to try to make one last go at it. Army there drives it into touch, and we'll see if that is the final whistle, and it is. And so here at Warrior Field, Anderson Rugby Complex, with 80 in the books, it is 45-31 in favor of the Army Black Knights, which seals the deal and brings the Cannon Cup here to West Point, New York. Before we sign off, Colin, anybody you want to shout out, anything that really stood out for you, and what do we look forward to going into the playoffs?
Always a difficult task, Mike, but 3 people that I thought got us off to an amazing start to this game. After that first 11 minutes, want to shout out Porter Kubler, Nick Trout, Ricky Corbett threw their foot in that first half. I thought set the precedence for the direction of this game. I think it's a great win. As Coach Sherman said, it's about the process. It's not about the scoreboard today. And we did exactly that. And we won some hardware, so can't be mad about that.
Couldn't agree more. I think on the Guelph side, I would say that you have to give the opening minutes to Jan Mesabeliu, the winger, who just looked real fast before Army was able to sort of figure that out and be ready for him. I thought they had a couple of other nice plays, and I mean, it goes without saying that their number 3, the big man Trollop, he had some real impact on the field, both in the tackle and in the carry, and so I would shout them out and say great work by the team from Ontario. Our many thanks for joining us here on Army Night Vision on YouTube. This one goes the way of Army, and the Cannon Cup comes home here to West Point, New York, and we'll see where that brings us next year. But for now, the first Cannon Cup is in the books here at Army. Thanks again for joining us. For those of you who want to continue and watch the next game, the second side game, the matchup will be on the Army Parents channel. So if you don't have that link and want it, find an Army parent and get in touch with them, and they'll send you that link, and we'll be switching over shortly. For myself, Mike Eisenhardt, Colin McGee, and our entire crew, Nelson Galarza, Aiden O'Brien, and lots of cadets, it's been an absolute pleasure being with you. Thanks so much for joining us. Until next time, have a great rest of the weekend.